I got over 1,000 kills with Caustic, but why? And to answer that, I have no idea. But I did learn some amazing things about this character that I would like to share with you guys. So let's dive right in. Of course, like many people when they start off a new game, they pick a character that appeals most to them, and Caustic was the one that appealed most to me. It was only after a few weeks that I realized that this character was not that viable for competitive play. There were many characters and people who were better at the game just simply because their other characters that they were using, such as Wraith, Bangalore, and Bloodhound for 3 of them, were very nimble, low hitbox characters that had very good abilities to benefit them in the long run. Whereas Caustic is a more slow, defensive type character, it doesn't really go with the flow of battle that this BR offers. And so, because of that, you suffer in the long run with this character, both in early game and end game. However, that doesn't mean that this character doesn't have some perks that go with it. One of the perks, as I've mentioned earlier, is his defensive play. A lot of people don't really utilize his defensive play. And people think that when you say defensive play with Caustic, people think, oh, just spam the building with a bunch of traps. That'll do it. And, well, for the most part, that actually is usually how you play the character. But there is a little bit more to it. You can put traps around the building, yes, but there's ways of being a little bit more aggressive with the character to make the enemy push onto your traps. There's ways of tactically placing your traps so that when enemies are trying to retreat in places that you know that they will be retreating to, they will run into your traps. And there are other things that you can do that will also help not only yourself, but your teammates to get a kill on an enemy that is out of position. The Caustic is very good at making the enemy believe that you are a terrible player because you chose Caustic. And I like to use that to my advantage. I have a lot of players easily going for the advancement on a Caustic because they think, oh, he has a higher hitbox than a Wraith. I can kill that. And for the most part, they're right. I get destroyed. But even still, there is a lot of times where I come out victorious on people who think that they can beat me simply because I'm a Caustic. And now that's a benefit that you guys should take advantage of right now while you have the chance. A lot of people who go against Gibraltars and Caustics for 2 characters, they believe that they're not that great because people don't realize that they're bad. So they use the Caustic and the Gibraltar, which is true. The characters are not that great, which is also the advantage of them. People think that you're not good with the character, or you're just not good in general because you chose the character, so they will easily aggress and go out of position and be way more aggressive towards you. And that's where you get the advantage. If you know how to stay calm under pressure and place your traps in very tactical areas, around corners and behind doors, then the enemy will lose their mind as they try to get into the building or out of the building you have trapped them in. And on top of that, when the gas goes off, you'll be able to see the enemy when they traverse through your traps, regardless if you are near the trap or not. What do I mean by that? Well, if you place a trap across the map and an enemy walks into it, you will be notified with a hit marker and the damage numbers will appear on your screen. So you will know exactly where the enemies are. Another thing I've picked up while playing Caustic in the past few weeks is how you move with the character. Yes, sure, sliding around and running as fast as you can get you through the map in a quicker way. But when you're in combat, the last thing you want to do with Caustic is sprint and slide everywhere. If you're trying to get away, yes, you would want to sprint and slide, but do not aggress on the enemy by sprinting. It sounds kind of bizarre, but believe me when I say that if you try to aggress with a Caustic, you can suffer some major punishes. For one, the character has a massive hitbox, 105% bigger than a Wraith, which means that if you push on an enemy and they start shooting you first, the chances of you winning that fight go astronomically low, simply because the chances of them missing you are really low. Compared to when you are shooting on a Wraith first and then the Wraith turns and shoots you. The Wraith will then have a better chance of beating you in the return fire than a Caustic would in the return fire of shooting on someone who has the first shot on them. So if you would like to try this, don't sprint on the enemy in combat, but simply walk around corners and be near your traps. That way, if the enemy does decide to push back on you, you will have a defensive line to fall back on, and you will not be caught in crossfire. I know it sounds bizarre, but trust me when I say that When you move with the character this way, you get a lot more kills, you get a lot more wins, and you feel way more comfortable using the guns and abilities with your Caustic. You have to understand that his abilities are slow and they don't work aggressively. They can if you're lucky and the enemies do not move that much, then his ult can work. But in defensive situations, this is where you shine. You also want to be around your teammates. If you're not near your teammates, the chances of winning alone, if you're not in a choke point with your traps, are also low. You want to be behind your teammates and have weapons that can work with your traps. And what do I mean by that? Well, you definitely want to have a close quarters weapon like a shotgun, Peacekeeper, Eva, or a R99. You want to have these three weapons because if the enemy comes close, you want to fight them around your traps in a close quarters area. The second thing you want to have is a long range weapon. However, I don't recommend a sniper such as longbow or the triple take, as those are slow firing weapons. You want fast firing weapons to keep up the damage and keep up with your teammates that are aggressing on the enemies. I recommend a scout or a hemlock. That is also a really good primary to have. With this setup, you are able to also not only help your teammates aggress on the enemy by staying back and supporting them, but also have a close quarters weapon if you get aggressed on yourself. And this is something that I've tried to work on with my own abilities throughout the past few weeks with Caustic, thinking in a different way of how to play this game with this character. The game wants me to play defensively, so I play defensively. And it looks like it's paying off. I'm getting a lot more kills, I'm getting a lot more wins, and I'm feeling a lot more comfortable with this character. Now, even with all of this being said, this character is still bad. I'm not going to deny that this character has a lot of problems that needs to be worked out. But with this knowledge, you should be able to level the playing field just a little bit against these pesky wraiths that fly through your traps like it's nothing and have a 26cm body hitbox. With that being said, I hope you guys did learn something, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I will see you all in the next video. See you later. I wanted to take the extra time on the end of this video to mention that I do have a Discord, so if you guys are interested in joining and being up to date for any new updates on my channel or any new videos that will come out, feel free to join this Discord. It is a community where you guys can discuss anything to do with Apex or anything else in general. So come on down and say hi. Thank you very much and have a good day.